It's Gem City Tonight with Andrew Mitakides, featuring music director Aimee James. Tonight's guests from the Glen Helen Raptor Center, Rebecca Jaramillo, author Tim Waggoner, Dayton Daily News columnist Amelia Robinson, and comedian Keith Irvin. And now, here's your host, Andrew Mitakides.
Okay. Oh, you can clap. It's really okay. It's not a big, there we go. No, sitting back there, I don't hear anything. I have no idea. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gem City Tonight. I am your host, Andrew Mitakides. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this. Let's start with the crazy wave that has been taking the beaches of our brains this week. Area 51. Now, I thought we all agreed that when the aliens landed here in 1947 in Roswell, we were just gonna go ahead and bury this information away about the weather balloon and just subscribe that, we keep him somewhere and we're gonna move on. That's fine. I mean, other than Will Smith movies, we don't really talk about him. So, but I mean, this is 2019. We have other things to worry about other than multiple little green men taking over the world. We just have to worry about large orange men with tiny hands taking over the world. I'm fairly convinced that every morning in the White House is like the start of a Pinky and the Brain episode. What do you want to do tonight, Mr. Trump? Same thing we do every night, Pensy. Try and take over the world. Fairly convinced. But as it turns out, thanks to a Facebook event called Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop Us All, the aliens are back in the picture. Honestly, I think what happened was someone in the government was sent a memo saying, we have to learn all we can about these aliens. They've been right under our noses for years and we need documentation. And then somebody had one too many edibles and was like, dude, aliens. And that's where that meme comes from. That guy with the hair, the famous one, his name is like George, I'm gonna say this wrong. Stoukalis? It's Greek, but good for him. Just making a life off of that. But the creators of the Facebook event explained, we're gonna meet up at Area 51 Alien Center, the tourist attraction. Okay, first off, if you're gonna do a movement, don't tell them where you're gonna meet. Don't give them the info. You've lost the idea of a sneak attack. And then the best part is, we will Naruto run faster than all of their bullets. Let's go see them aliens. For those of you who don't do Japanese anime, a Naruto run is kind of like an ostrich-like sprint, popular with Japanese characters. And I'm gonna attempt, this is what it looks like. Like you have to run like this. Like when you run, I'm seeing if I can do it without hurting myself. It's like this. I don't know how, I don't even, okay. My friend Phil decided I should do that on camera, so that one's for you, Phil. So I don't think they know how they're gonna pull this off. So, and I really think it's interesting. I love how this is organized by a bunch of guys and a basement-dwelling nerds who are trying to see alien parts in Area 51, knowing they're never gonna see lady parts in Area 69. Oh. It's true. It's true. The plan is actually scheduled for September 20th and has gained momentum with 1.5 million people RSVPing as attending and 1.1 million as interested. I can't get 3 people to help me move, but these wackadoodles get more than 1 million people to storm one of the heavily guarded places in the world. Perfect. That's good. So how do you get people to move? Free t-shirts, free beer, free pizza? Those are like the 3 things that get everybody to move. They're gonna be really disappointed when they open the doors and they find like Mama June and Tammy Lahern sitting there at a table talking to each other, which is fine. They need to be locked away anyway. I'm totally cool with that. They have to be smoking something to think that this is gonna be even a feasible idea. And well, now with Dayton's first marijuana dispensary, we can get on the same level as these Aetherius Society members. So that's gonna happen. I had to Google what that is, and if you're at home, it's Aetherius Society. It's as nerdy as it sounds. Go ahead, I'll do it after the show. You'll thank me. But in Dayton, in May, it opened its first medical dispensary, much to the chagrin of the Gem City residents. About Wellness, Ohio, opened in Lebanon, with another one coming in Springfield. Now this is the 17th in Ohio, so this is nothing new, but this is the nearest one to the Gem City, that's why we're talking about it. So, just so you know, due to law, smoking it is prohibited, but medical cannabis can be used as vaping and an edible. If you don't know what an edible is, while you're Googling the Aetherius Society, Google what an edible is. Now, here's the interesting part. I'm reporting on this. I've never done a drug. Not even pot. Nothing. I'm boring. I am. Hairspray, I'm totally cool with. That I got covered. But pot, no. So there's 21 health qualifications that you have to get this card. Some are pretty clear cut. AIDS, Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, PTSD, totally get it. And then the ones you get to the bottom of the list, you're like, really? Like Tourette's, irritable bowel syndrome, glaucoma. I know this is starting to sound like a drug ad, but so let me get this straight. So if you can't see your way to the toilet because you're about to poop yourself and you're cussing out loud, you get a joint? Is that, no? Is that how that works? Amelia's over here like, no, that's not how that works. That just sounds like a Friday night at downtown after Taco Bell. But the history of the sticky icky is actually an interesting journey, from it being used as an herbal agent in around 500 BC to Virginia, Massachusetts, and other Connecticut colonies requiring farmers to grow hemp, which is actually interesting if you think about the founding fathers sitting around going, we hold these truths to be self-evident. You can just imagine T.J. Washington and Hamilton walking out like, oh, Constitution, boom, and walking into Philadelphia. There's actually no proof that they smoked pot. They did a bunch of other stuff, but that's beside the point. But let's jump forward to the marijuana tax of 1937. This is when the federal U.S. law actually to criminalize marijuana nationwide happened. Then it goes kind of sideways. As a part of the War on Drugs, the Controlled Substance Act of 1970, Nixon signed into law that marijuana was bad. Really? Really, Dick? He put it on the same level as heroin, LSD, and ecstasy. Yeah, because when I think stoners with Tonka trucks and cheeseburgers, I think heroin. No. Fast forward now to multiple countries and states having legalized it. Now, this history lesson seems kind of verbose, but I'm shocked, utterly shocked, that the ad slogans are so mundane. They're boring. You have any idea the gold mine you're sitting on, the names for pot alone, could lead to fantastic commercials? Hey there, buds and budettes. Do you need a little chronic for that chronic pain? A little ounce to get you out of your funk? Maybe a little cushion your push? Well, come on down to Uncle Billy's House Ablaze. We've got all you need to get toked on your weed. Texas tea, Panama Gold, Maui Wowie, and much, much more. And in the words of the godfather of ganja, smoke weed every day. It's the only time I'm ever going to get to say that on camera. That's it. It's the only time it's going to happen. So I think if we get these going, we can jump out of the TV biz and just retire, so that'll be fine. Now, there are other drugs that cause way more harm doing weirder things in America right now. For instance, if you're following the story coming out of Tennessee, really anything could come out of my mouth right now, it's Tennessee. But the police in Loretto County, Tennessee have recently warned people to please stop flushing your meth down the toilet because you could create meth gators. I can't make this up, I can't. Meth gators, yes, alligators on methamphetamines. And not only that, they're warning that ducks, geese, and other foul animals, like foul, not bad, foul, who frequent these ponds are going to be affected by these and have horrible repercussions, both for the animals and for the unlucky people that deal with them. I'm also thinking that if you wrestle an alligator, you get pretty much what's coming to you, if it's on meth or not. This seems to be a sweeping epidemic, as in Alabama. Notice the other lack of gasps after that sentence. A man kept an attack squirrel high on meth for a few weeks. Thanks, Alabama. Thanks for raising the bar. In Australia, a python actually was found to be on meth and sent to rehab, and then did 3 more movies with Tom Cruise. And now meth gators it's a Nicole Kidman joke, nobody gets it. And now meth gators are a thing. And now, granted, there's been no known cases, but I'm old enough to know the movie Lake Placid, so do me a favor. Stop flushing your drugs down the damn toilet. That'd be solid. I want to go back to the times where the scariest, weird, leathery thing coming out of Chattanooga was like Samuel L. Jackson. You mother. Anyway, we got a great show for you tonight. Stick around. Aimee James is going to sing for us a little bit. Are you? You're not?
You're supposed to dance.
I'm not. What? No. I don't have moves like that. You've got moves like
I
that.
do have moves like that.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
I've seen you dance.
I know.
Meth gators. This was a real thing they put on Facebook. How do you put meth gators on? All right, so as you know, at Dayton we always do a fun fact. So our ladies from Dayton Unknown. Actually, you know, we're filming on July 20th. You know what today is? What happened 50 years ago today?
I don't.
Really?
No.
We landed on the moon.
Oh.
July 20th, 1969. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. Just one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Fun fact, you know who the other guy was waiting for them? who stayed in the lunar module. It's a fun piece of trivia.
Is it? I'm gonna guess John Glenn. That's the only astronaut I know.
A solid guess, but no. His name was Michael Collins.
Okay.
So it's like the one, he's like the Beatle nobody remembers.
Yeah.
But he was there.
I remember like 2 of them.
Oh, what do we got for us here? Oh, ironically. In 1933, Myron E. Scott, a photographer for the Dayton Daily News, noticed 3 boys attempting to race engineless cars down Big Hill Road in Oakwood. Big Hill, he offered a trophy to the winner of that race that was taking place the next week. 19 boys showed up with their engineless cars, and Myron knew he had to expand the race. On August 19, 1933, 362 racers and an estimated 40,000 spectators showed up for the first official soapbox derby right here in Dayton.
Nice.
So there you go.
Very cool.
So we always move into a desk piece. I regret putting this one. Did you see what I put online? I completely regretted doing this. This is, Jonathan's already laughing. This was such a bad idea. It was, who do I look like? We got a number of responses, a number of memes, which I wish we could put up, but we can't. So first one right out of the gate, one of my favorites, Sonny Crockett from Miami Vice. Don Johnson?
No.
Yeah, who laughed at that? You're not wrong. George Michael's son. You don't know George Michael, the singer? Hold on, stop the show. You don't know George Michael?
No.
Because you gotta have faith, faith, faith.
No, I know. I'm really bad. I was
Everyone-
sheltered as a child.
Like,
I've never seen Ghostbusters. I don't know most things. I was sheltered.
I'm out of here.
Why do you think I turned out this way?
I'm out of here. Jonathan, come do the show. I'm out. Jim Carrey,
Oh, I know him.
but from Ace Ventura.
Never seen it.
Yeah, the hair. Zach from Saved by the Bell. Yeah. Hugh Jackman.
Ooh, I like
Hear
that.
that one. Prince Charming from Shrek. That's just because of the hair? Is that what it is? Why is Don Johnson on here twice? Do I really look like Don Johnson that much? That's not good. We do have Keith Irvin on the show later. Maybe we can just hop in our cars and like listen to In the Air Tonight and drive around. We'll just reenact scenes from Miami Vice. He's Tubbs. That's how it works. Ron Swanson, you said that one.
Oh, yeah, Ken said that.
Oh God, Ron Swanson. Dr. Cox from Scrubs.
Oh, is that the
Not a
funny
Scrubs
guy?
Okay. Chris Pine, and of course I saved the best for last, which I get almost every other day of my life. Johnny Bravo.
I like that one.
Yeah, so that was the fun poll that I put on who I look like. All right, stick around. We'll be right back with more Gem City Tonight.
It wasn't always like this. My friends were slowly going away. They found other people. And the world was slowly revolving around me. With my classes becoming harder and harder, and the constant stress of applying to college, it seemed like suicide was the answer to all of this. It was so easy to do, right there and then. I could have done it, but someone reached out to me. This person actually cared for me, talked to me, and understood me. Suicide is never the answer. Know the signs, find the words, and reach out.
All right, we're back. So once again, every now and then they let me away from my desk. A little segment we call A Greek in the Streets. Luckily, we had a chance to go to one of Yellow Springs' kind of hidden gems. It's the Raptor Center. Now, when I initially thought we were gonna go to this, I was like, good, let's go to Jurassic Park and the host gets eaten. I've seen this movie. Turns out, it's a fantastic place for different types of owls, birds, and a really, really educational center. So here is our trip to the Raptor Center. All right, Gem City, tonight we're actually here with Rebecca Jaramillo. Oh, I said it right. And you're the director of the Raptor Center.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm gonna be the bad Daytonian. I had no idea this was here. How long has it been open?
So we've been here 49 years. Next year's our 50th anniversary. And a lot of people don't know about us. We're kind of tucked around the corner of the main entrance to the Glen Helen Ecology Institute. But we're here and open to the public every single day of the year. All of the birds that we have here are native to Ohio. They're all non-releasable for some sort of injury, some reason that they can't go back into the wild. Some of them came through our rehab center. Some of them came from other rehabilitators. And then once they were deemed non-releasable, they came here to be educational ambassadors.
So you were saying a lot of the injuries come from cars?
Yeah, the highest percentage of injury that we see are car collisions. So what happens, they're hunting along the side of the road, they either see roadkill that they want to eat because all of these birds will scavenge, or they just see a bunny or something hopping along the side of the road, they swoop down there, they don't know to pay attention to cars, and they get hit.
So we're gonna highlight some of the birds and we're gonna start with the vultures.
Great, yeah.
Okay, so as we were talking earlier, huge common misconception about these birds, right?
Yeah, so vultures are actually really, really great birds. They're very clean, they're very intelligent. Everything about vultures is there to help them be really clean. Their feathers are black. That way when they sun, it kills all the bacteria on their feathers. They've got that beautiful bald head so that they don't get things on it when they're going into a deer or whatever it is they're eating. And they're really, really intelligent. They can problem solve, they can learn human behavior just based on watching and observing us. So they don't deserve the bad rap they get.
Nice. So that is one thing I wanted to bring up. So the word raptor.
Yeah.
So I thought we were going to be at Jurassic Park. We're
right.
not.
We're not. Sort of. I mean, they're basically tiny little dinosaurs. So the word raptor actually comes from the way they hunt, which is with the talons on their feet. They're meat eaters, just like the velociraptor dinosaurs. So that's kind of where they get that name. Raptors are hawks, owls, eagles, falcons, and osprey. And then the vultures are technically not raptors because they are scavengers. They're not hunting. But here at the Raptor Center, we think they are really, really awesome. And so we've decided to kind of lump them in with the gang.
All right. Let's do the all-American one, the bald eagle.
Excellent. Let's do it.
After you. Okay, so we're about to fully go America on us.
Yes.
So, bald eagles.
Bald eagles, yeah.
So, they're not endangered anymore, right?
Nope, they're not. They've been taken off the endangered species list. Their recovery has been completed. They're still protected. They're still really highly protected, but they have come back and are doing really well.
So the cool thing is that you can't just take a bald eagle feather.
Right, yeah. So they're covered under two different laws, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act and the Bald and Golden Eagle Act, which means you can't have their feathers, their parts, anything like that. The one exception is that, in fact, when we get feathers off of these guys, when they molt and they drop their feathers naturally, they get sent to the Eagle Repository, and those eagles' feathers get distributed to people with religious permits for them.
Nice. All right then. And where'd you get these guys from?
These guys are both from Ohio. They also both have wing injuries. One of them was hit by a car, just like the vultures we were talking about. The other one, we're not exactly sure what happened, but they are both here from Ohio. And last count, there were over 200 eagles wild in Ohio.
All right then. You've ever tempted to put a giant American flag back there, just for fun?
Absolutely. Actually, this past Thanksgiving, they got a whole turkey because there's nothing more America than two eagles eating a turkey on Thanksgiving.
That's fantastic. What's next?
Let's go check out the Cooper's Hawk.
Okay, so now we're at Cooper's Hawk,
Yes.
who you've affectionately named Alice.
Love her.
And it took me 2 seconds to figure out Alice Cooper.
Yep.
So that was good. So you said she's your girl. Why this one?
So these guys are they're just majestic. Of all of the birds that we have here, this really is a dinosaur. They're athletic, they're fast, they're smart. These guys are bird-eating birds, and they have learned that they can hunt at bird feeders. So if you go out to fill up your bird feeder and you're putting the bird seed in there and you see feathers and 2 little bird feet at the bottom of your bird feeder, that means you basically just fed a dinosaur.
So this is common?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes it is.
Okay. You're feeding dinosaurs. This really is kind of like Jurassic Park.
It really is. It's just they've got feathers instead of scales.
And nobody dies?
Not that we've told anybody.
Okay, and we're moving on. And we're moving. Okay, I want to stop here real quick because being Ohio and my sister, who went to Miami, that's where she got her doctorate, Red Hawks.
Yeah.
Miami,
Yeah, so these are the red-tailed hawks. Some people call them red hawks, some people call them chicken hawks. They are the most commonly seen hawk here in Ohio. These are the ones sitting on the power lines, the big bird sitting on the power pole by the freeway. Probably 90% of the time it's a red-tailed hawk.
And fun fact you just told me, so screeching eagles, not a thing.
No,
they
not a
use
thing.
this voice?
Yeah, so the red-tailed hawks have a really loud, majestic, screaming call.
So do I.
Yeah.
It's really,
Well, these guys, people think that it sounds really majestic, and so they have dubbed it over the bald eagle, which sounds a little bit more like a strangled chicken.
There's movie magic for you. All right then, so we're jumping over to another one.
Yeah, let's
All
go.
Okay, so we're into the owls. How many owls do you have?
We have 11.
Okay. And the ones, they're all fantastic, but the ones you're not rarely going to see are the barn owls.
Yeah, barn owls are found here in Ohio, but not really in this area. They prefer the long grass meadows, the hay fields, the wheat fields, kind of more southeastern Ohio. They actually can't hunt in corn and soy fields, which is one of the biggest problems for them. Their habitat loss is really drastically affecting their population, and there's just not a lot of that long grass prairie left in Ohio. So their population numbers are kind of right on the edge of being threatened.
So how many endangered do you have here?
We actually don't have any raptors that are considered endangered.
Okay.
The only raptor in Ohio that's considered endangered is the northern harrier, and we don't have one of those. But these guys they're a species of concern, which is one step before you get to threatened.
All right then. So, okay, and one final fun fact. How do you name them? Like big donors,
Gosh.
I'm assuming? Or...
There's all sorts of different ways. Some of the birds that have been named previously, a lot of times they're named after some part of their scientific name or where they were found or some behavior quirk that they have.
Or rock stars.
Which that's the behavior part, right?
I like that.
She's a rock star. We actually do have 2 birds right now that are available to be named with the proper amount of donation.
Okay. And how would, because you're actually, that's the other thing I wanted to get to, you're actually fundraising to your goal of...
Yeah, so we are currently fundraising to rebuild all of our rehabilitation enclosures. So all these enclosures we've been looking at, these were rebuilt about 5 years ago. They're beautiful. They'll last us for 20 years plus at least. But our rehabilitation enclosures are about 20 years old. They're just old. They've outlived their lifespan, and also we have more birds and different species than we had back when those enclosures were built. So we're in the process of fundraising to rebuild all of our outdoor rehab and expand it and really be able to provide better care for our patients.
How does somebody find a way to donate?
So you can go online. We have adoptions. We have, I think, 6 different levels of adoptions in order to help support the Raptor Center. And if you're looking at making a bigger donation, you can find my contact information, and I'm happy to talk to you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So you want to go inside? Because that's where inside rehab happens, right?
Yeah. Do you want to check out Inside Rehab?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, so now we're inside
Yeah.
where you do classes and so forth, but I can't help but notice the little dude behind me.
Yeah.
This is Mickey?
This is Mickey. Mickey is a Mississippi kite. They have a really cool story. So Mississippi kites were native to Ohio, and then when the settlers came in and started cutting down the trees, the Mississippi kites were extirpated, which means they were extinct in Ohio.
Big words.
Big word. And they moved west. And about 10 years ago, they all on their own, because we've reforested Ohio, they've started moving themselves back in. And they are breeding here in Ohio again in Hocking College. This particular individual actually came from Arizona with a wing injury, most likely from a car collision. But he's a really great example of what can happen if we just restore the animal's habitat. They can restore their populations themselves.
Cool.
Yeah.
So where do we find you? What's the website?
So you can find us glenhelen.org/Raptor Center, or just like I said, you can look up
/Raptor Center.
You can just look up Division Wildlife. There's another great organization, Ohio Wildlife Rehabilitators Association, and they can help you out as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having to show us
You're
around. This was
welcome.
awesome.
Great. I'm glad you came. Thanks.
Did you have fun, Mickey? That was a yes.
Yeah, that was a yes.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, that was our trip to the Raptor Center. It was really cool to see the bald eagles, actually. So it's in Yellow Springs. It's a hidden gem. They have owls, birds, and it's there all year round. So please check them out. We'll be right back with Tim Waggoner.
On August 11th, my brother Max wrote these words and hanged himself. He was only 15, and he had his whole life ahead of him, but he was tormented and bullied until, hopeless and alone, he took his own life.
Though Max's pain is gone, the pain of his family will last a lifetime. Don't let this tragedy repeat itself. If you or someone you know is speaking or thinking about suicide, talk to an adult.
What wouldn't you do to stop it?
All right, my first guest is an award-winning author. Please put your hands together for Tim Waggoner. Thank you, sir. Please. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
No, thanks for having me.
I know you've been busy. You just finished a book.
Yes, like this morning.
Like, oh, like a book that's not, oh, okay.
Yes, I did.
So you have been busy.
Yes, I have.
So we'll get into the book you just released, which was fantastic. We got an advance copy and got a chance to read it, which was great.
Oh, thanks.
But why writing? Has it always been a passion for you, or is it?
Well, no, when I was a kid, I was into just all kinds of, just about anything that was creative. So, but one of the things that I liked to do the most was kind of, whatever kind of cartoon we'd watch on TV. I tried to reenact it on the playground. So I would kind of direct the kids, and so we'd make stories up from that. And it never occurred to me to do anything with it. I would draw, kind of do my own little comics and things like that. But it was so natural for me. It didn't seem like that's the way you found a career. You were supposed to pick one,
Right.
And that's the one you're supposed to do. And one day I was reading, I was in high school, and I was reading an article back when Stephen King was not super famous yet. He wasn't Stephen King. I think he just finished The Shining, and it was in the back of a comics magazine, like a vampire comic magazine. And I read this interview, and it was the first time I realized that somebody could choose to be a writer, just like you could choose to be anything.
Right.
And so I was in my bedroom, and I walked down the hall and told my mom, I think I'd like to be a writer.
And
I kind of waited, and she said, I think you'd be a good one. And so that's when I first started thinking about it.
Nice. So as you went through, what have been your influences?
All kinds of things. Sometimes it's movies, sometimes it's people that you meet. Stephen King was a big one, not so much because of his horror, but because of his characters. It was one of the things that I really enjoyed so much, is that even the people that might be on just for a short time and they're going to get killed, they still had their dignity. They still had, something about them that made them seem human to you. And that stayed with me all along. It's something I always try to do with my own work. Clive Barker was an influence too, not so much from some of the early stuff he did in the 80s where it had a lot of gore and everything, but when he started to shift over kind of doing into dark fantasy, where he would just let his imagination go crazy. And I thought, this is great, why limit yourself? So yeah, I think those are two of my biggest ones.
So you just came out with, how many books do you have out in total?
I don't know. I've lost track. It's somewhere in the mid-40s, probably.
So how long have you been, when did you publish your first?
First book I published probably when I was 30, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that.
So spanning, I'm not going to guess your age on air.
25.
Thank you. Thank you. I wasn't going to do
25
that.
years.
And your latest one is They Kill.
That's right.
So tell us, without giving it away, a little bit about it.
Okay. Well, it comes out next week, and it's about a woman whose brother died in a car wreck a year ago. And some mysterious stranger with supernatural powers actually brings him back and tells him, go into town, find your sister. And he does go into town. She sees him, and she's all freaked out. And this mysterious man finds 4 other people in her life, like her next-door neighbor, a colleague where she teaches, her ex-boyfriend who's stalking her, and a neighbor across the street. And he turns all of them into monsters to go after her for some reason. All of this is to kind of plague her for a very specific reason that he has. And things get crazier and crazier from that as the people start to mutate, become worse monsters, as she's trying to figure out what in the world is going on and try to get out of this, trying to save her brother too, because she's got an opportunity maybe to keep him alive.
One of our executive producers, Ricky, actually read the book in like 3 days. And she was like, she read it to me, handed it to me, and was just like, yeah, just read that. And that was it. And I was like, I don't know what this means. She's like, you'll figure it. And I did, and it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to pick your brain a little bit more. You going to stick around?
Yep, sure will.
All right, we'll be right back with more from author Tim Waggoner.
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
You're all right.
Sorry.
It's okay, Gabe.
All right, we're back with author Tim Waggoner. So you've been writing for 25 years and so forth. Two questions I had before I start really picking your brain. How has, with the birth of social media and so forth, how has writing changed? With the birth of the Kindle, I mean, and so forth, is like hardbound books you don't see people carrying around anymore.
Right. Well, that's a good thing in a lot of ways because, you know, I was talking about Stephen King earlier, and you take one of these books that size and you try to read it, you know, you try to even crack the spine, and you can't even read the text that's in the middle of it. So one of the things that electronic text has done is the size of the book doesn't matter anymore. You could have a book that's 5,000 pages, it doesn't matter. Or you could publish one that's shorter, that might only be 60 pages, and it still doesn't matter. So it allows people to find the length of their own story without having to worry about the size of it or the cost of paper, which is really the whole history of publishing is the cost of paper.
All right. The interesting that we were, the director and I were talking about earlier, is we were going through and I was reading the book, and I mean, I'm still one of those people that goes and buys the paper. Like I do the crossword with, I'm that nerd. I'm cool with that. But for a generation that like just had Harry Potter, and the next generation with the advent of Facebook and so much other attention diverted to TV and movies and so forth, how does writing stay alive? What do you think?
Well, a lot of our social media is text-based. And so I teach writing as well, and I've done that for about 30 years. And people's ability to communicate with language and writing is a lot better than it was back then. The problem that they have is doing anything in depth and focusing on detail. So that's kind of the trade-off. You get people that have a strong facility with language, that are used to dealing with text, but it's also, like if you see at the end of post, you know, too long, didn't read. But people complain about that. I actually heard a student last year tell another one, you're not supposed to write in detail, that's bad. And I'm like, this is a college writing class. I'm pretty sure the detail's important. So it is kind of a trade-off, but I still find, I mean, I still have students, 18, 19, that lug around books with them everywhere they go. They're still reading. Audiobooks are a big deal now. A lot of them are listening to audiobooks. So I think stories and text in general, however people, you know, access it, it's still very much alive.
Does it drive you just batty when some of your students like use the wrong context of a word or like shorten it, or have you seen writing as you teach it and you teach the form and function of actual words and sentences and so forth? Is it harder these days because people are shortening words and texts and like LOL and?
Well, some of the software catches it for them, but not a lot. And I'm guilty of it too because I'm so used to typing on my phone. I kind of wait. I look at the computer and wait for autocorrect to suggest something. The computer just looks at me, says, "Not your phone." But no, it's not too bad. You'd think you'd see more like little abbreviations and things like that. All that's the same. That really hasn't changed much in the last 30 years. Just a little bit of that.
Do you start writing by hand, or you always start, like, what's your process?
Yeah, I usually write by hand.
Okay.
Over the years, I've done both, but I have gravitated toward that the most, and I think it's because I grew up just right before the PC showed up. I mean, literally, they showed up when I was my freshman year in college. I went to Wright State, and my friends that were computer majors, we walked by this room, had these giant computers in them. They were all clicking away with the cards in them. And one of my friends said, "You see those?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "They won't be here next year." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We're going to have these things that'll be on top of our tables, our desks, and you just use them ourselves." And I'm like, "What?" Because he'd never seen one in a movie before.
Right.
And so, you know, I got one and started working from that. And that worked fine. But I think it's because I grew up writing by hand. I mean, I didn't learn to type on a typewriter until I was 16, so I think it's just more natural for my thoughts to work that way. Certainly, I produce more text faster, but then I have the problem of typing it in,
Right.
which is the dreaded thing.
So, two fun questions to end on. If you're not reading one of your books, what's your favorite book of all time?
Favorite book of all time? Oh my God.
You have one to read the rest of your life. What do you read?
There was a book I read, I don't know if it's my favorite of all time, but it's one of the few I've read like from start to finish in one sitting. It's a book called Replay by an author named, I can't remember his name, Peter Grimwood maybe, something like that. It's called Replay though. And it's about this couple, they're not together, it's just two people, that they die when they hit like 30, and something like that, 40, and then they jump back into their early teens. And they keep reliving their lives. And once they connect with each other, they find out they can start making changes to things if they want to. And they start doing all kinds of different things. And you see, it's all about them and what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to make choices? It's a really great fantasy, and I wonder why it's never been made a movie. Somebody should make it a movie.
All right, can we copyright that right now while we're on air? Can we do that?
Yeah, you do that.
Okay, done. And the last question I ask all our guests, if you're going anywhere in Dayton to sit, write, zen, coffee, food, bar, where are you going? Where's your favorite place in Dayton?
Starbucks. I kind of move around from them too. Sometimes I've written at the one by UD. I don't know if I want to say where I write now. Everybody will come. Everybody will stare at me while I'm trying to write. No, I do. I write at the, it's a new one out in, I guess it's by the Dayton Mall. Used to be a bank.
Oh,
They converted to Starbucks.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that one. Yeah, I like the atmosphere.
I was writing for this show there the other day.
Well, I might have been there, same time you were.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Once again, the new book coming out, They Kill. That'll be out next week. And then when do we expect your next book?
My next book, I did a novel set in the Alien universe, original adventure with, the alien from like Ridley Scott's Alien. That's coming out in October.
All right, then. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, we'll be right back with more Gem City Tonight.
I used to feel alone, awkward, and self-conscious. I felt as if I was walking down an endless road leading nowhere. I suffered from deep depression, and I couldn't shake the pain. Soon I would catch myself having thoughts of suicide. I ached in pain for someone to come and help and tell me everything's alright. As I drifted off into my daily thoughts of emptiness, someone stepped in and reached out. They told me they were there for me. I later realized in a world this big, there will always be someone to confide in. I'm so thankful someone came to my rescue and made me feel loved. You do not have to suffer alone. Be the difference in someone's life and don't let another beautiful life be wasted. Don't wait until it's too late. Know the signs. Give light to someone in need. If you know someone who is suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK.
All right, welcome back to Gem City Tonight. My next guest is a prolific voice in the city of Dayton and a fantastic lady. Put your hands together for Amelia Robinson.
Hey.
Yeah.
How are you? Thank you.
I like how we're all doing the blue thing today. This is.
Oh yeah, we're very pretty people, so you gotta wear blue.
This was matching. This is good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, where to start with you? First off, your title, because you do everything.
Yeah, too much sometimes. That's what people tell me. You're doing too much, Robinson. Slow it down.
So
yeah.
you're with the Dayton Daily News.
Yeah,
but
with the Dayton Daily News for 19 years. I've been a columnist for a long time. Smart Mouth is the name of the column. Last couple years, I've picked up a podcast. It's called the What Had Happened Was podcast. And then I do stuff for Dayton.com. And a little bit of stuff on WHIO radio, too. Yeah, that's why I'm so tired.
I was going to wait till you were done. Okay. Okay. So because you're originally from Cleveland. Mm-hmm. What brought you down here?
The work, I expected to be in Dayton for 15 minutes, but everything involves a boy.
Yeah.
And
That's why I lived in Virginia Beach, yeah.
A boy, yeah.
No. I walked into that one, didn't I?
You did.
I walked right into that one. No, a significant other, yeah.
Yeah, I fell in love with a Dayton boy who works at the paper too, and I've been here ever since. Grew to love the city on its own, and also because of that man of mine. We have some great friends. We always are busy doing things, and Dayton's a fantastic town. So,
you have. Every time I look up, you're well known. You're prolific, and everyone has great things to say about you. You're everywhere.
Yeah, that goes back to that being tired thing. Like I said, though, people don't believe that there are so many things to do in Dayton. I'm always busy, and I love to tell Dayton's story and about the cool thing that there are to do in town. There's always great nonprofits who are doing fundraisers. Mm-hmm. There's always great artistic folks who are displaying that talent. And I really enjoy telling other people about the cool things that are happening in our town.
Well, you walked into this one, so what's your favorite Dayton story?
Oh,
you walked into that one.
See, I'm very forgetful. The best story I've written, so it's not my favorite, but it's one of the ones I've just written recently. Mm-hmm. It's about a special wish. There's a young man from Troy who has cancer, and his prognosis is not great. But our local chapter of a Special Wish Foundation set it up so that he could go see Gordon Ramsay. So that's one of the recent stories I've told. Like, there's so many stories like that in this town, though. I've had some great conversations on the podcast. What had happened was, just recently spoke with Rob Lowe, who was cool, but I also talked to Sarah and Gus from the Barrel House, who are also fantastic people.
They were on the show. They're great.
Yeah, so there's like always cool people. It's not just like well-known celebrity types, but there's people who have small businesses, who are doing things in arts, who are just giving back to the community. The tornado, of course, brought up some really wonderful things. There's a couple young women. I just talked to a wonderful woman named Kelly Watts, who lives in Trotwood, and she lost everything in the tornado. Her daughter and her barely have any clothes. But it's that spirit that's inside of her that really says a lot about Dayton and our toughness. It really is Dayton strong, because there's people like Kelly who are fighting. There's people who are behind her in the city who want her to come back, and that's why we will come back.
It's interesting because I moved away and came back, and you've stayed here, but you're not from here. So how have you seen, because for a while Dayton had some bad press. How have you seen the evolution and kind of the city of Dayton move through the last few years?
Well, like you said, I'm from Cleveland, so like I'm used to people talking trash about my town too. You know, I grew up under the Mistake on the Lake and all that.
You have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, though. I mean,
But you know, growing up in Cleveland in the 80s, 90s wasn't always easy, because it did have that like reputation as an industrial town where a lot of struggles had happened, a lot of businesses that closed, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But always have had like tremendous pride. Dayton, on the other hand, when I first came here, everything you say positive about the town, Daytonians want to dog it out. So I think that's changing, because people are sick of that nonsense, and people who know the truth about this city and about the city's toughness are beginning to speak up too. And that's a beautiful thing to do, because we can only tell our own story. We can't let other people tell our stories.
With the revitalization of downtown, where do you see Dayton going?
What I hope will happen is that spirit that is downtown flourishes, not just downtown, it flourishes all throughout the whole city. That's how we're going to make it. Everybody is from this town, be you from Centerville or Beaver Creek or wherever else, you know, you go anywhere, people know Dayton. So when we start embracing that and spreading it not just to areas with more money, but throughout the whole city, the whole community is going to benefit. That's what I really want to see happen.
Nice. So I ask everyone who comes on the show, you're going anywhere in town, where's your favorite place to go in Dayton?
Well, I live downtown in the Oregon District. My house, my backyard is my favorite place to go because macadam plants are there.
Nice.
So, but beyond that, I spend a lot of time in the Oregon District. Have a bunch of friends down there. Go to a bunch of the different coffee shops and restaurants and stuff. I can't really say which one is my favorite.
I know.
Because I write about them and
I
I'll
know.
hear about it. Everywhere from West Carrollton, El Mason is one of my favorite restaurants. So there's a lot of different places I go to.
One of the last things I wanted to ask is, of all the events that go on in Dayton and the things that, like, there's always like a game or there's a market or there's a fair or whatever, do you sense, as after the tornado, I mean, more of a sense of community than before?
Definitely. I really think that our toughness came out. The city, we weren't ready for a tornado, because how are you going to get ready for a tornado that
No
has
one can.
15, not just one, 15 tornadoes? Dayton is an overachiever. If we're going to have a tornado,
If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right.
we're going to do it big, right?
Yeah.
So we had 15 tornadoes. People did not sit around and wait for the official sources to come up with solutions. We saw people from all walks of life getting out there, rolling their sleeves up, helping neighbors. And that really displays how tough this city is. It really does, in tremendous ways. I cannot say enough about the people of this community.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I want to thank you for being another advocate for the city
Thank
of
you.
Dayton.
This show's great.
It's one of the reasons why I started it, is to highlight the great people and things that this city has to offer.
Definitely.
So how do we find your podcast? How do we find you?
Okay, so it's What Happened Was podcast. You can find it on Dayton.com. You can also find it on all your favorite platforms, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, all that good stuff.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. All right. We'll be back with more Gem City tonight. Thank you so much. Plain and simple. All right, my next guest on the show is an hilarious comedian. He's a great guy. He's been on the show before. I'm gonna have him on the show as much as he'll have me, as much as he'll be. So he's a producer of D Strong Productions. He's a singer, he's an Uber driver, he's a comedian, he's a tightrope walker. He does anything you can possibly think of. One of my dearest friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Irvin.
Thank you. And my mom said I'd never make it. Suck it, Mom. All right, disclaimer first thing. White people, calm down. I am not Keith Irvin. Look at Amy's like so shocked. She's shocked. But I'm not. You know what I mean? I get it a lot because my name kind of sounds like him. I did a show in Kentucky last month or so. They introduced me and they went crazy. You would have thought I was Keith Irvin. But till I got on stage. And then it was like, hey! Wait a minute. Wait. No, that's not Keith Irvin. But a lady in the front row, she was like, I thought he'd be taller. Bartender, give me what she's having. Because I know TV adds 10 pounds. But I didn't know it had a pigment. You know what I'm saying? Andrew, that's because I'm colored. That's what I'm.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, let's see what else. I am Keith Irvin. That's Irvin with an I for single ladies out there. You might want to check me out. I got good credit. It's not great credit, it's good credit. Like a couple of years ago, not so good. Had my identity stolen. Yeah, don't feel bad. 2 days later, I got it back. Came with a nice card. Sorry, you're a broke ass. A couple of what do you call them, Groupons in there. I was a happy camper. You know what I mean? But now, it's good. Got a 5-star rating at Cashland I'm pretty excited about. You know what I mean? They got my picture on the wall. It's really nice. And got that Capital One credit card, you know what I'm saying, Andrew, that Samuel Jackson, what's in your wallet? Yeah, it's a $300 limit card, ladies. I'm sorry. It's $300. You know what I mean? I can't take you shopping at Walmart willy-nilly like you fancy people do. But catch me at the dollar store. I will make it rain. Make it rain. What? You hungry? Boo, you hungry? I got you. Okay. You can pick anything from this side of the board, but not down here on, pick number 2 and go supersize, and I got you. I got Groupons. I'm good to go. Let's see, I am single. I know it's a shocker. But, I don't want to be single. You know what I mean? I'm 55. I feel that I need to have that in my life. So I'm hitting the dating sites, you know what I'm saying? I'm hitting let's see, Plenty of Fish, Aimee, Black People Meet, of course. What else? Oh, Tinder. You guys know Tinder? Yeah, Tinder is my stuff. If you don't know, Tinder is you just look at the picture, and if you like the picture, you swipe right. If you don't like it, you swipe left. Earlier in my singleness, is that a word? Singleness, I was picky. You know what I mean? I was, is that a mustache? No, I can't do that. Ooh, 100 credit score. Okay, I'm gonna take that one. That's 100 is a good score, right? But my favorite is You Don't Have to Be Lonely. Thank you, Aimee. Thank you, Aimee. Aimee, see, me and Aimee right there. But I like it. I like farmersonly.com. You know what I mean? And I'm a comic, so I'm going to come correct. I went shopping, bought me the farmer overalls. You know what I mean? Found me a nice farmer's hat. Got me a bunch of chickens. Okay, it was Lee's chicken, but oh, it was chicken. It was so good. It was chicken nonetheless. Let's see what else I got. You know, like I said, I'm 55. I don't even know if I want to date. I'm not sure. Not sure. Because I'm 55. So, and you ladies, you make it kind of tough. You make it real tough. You know what I mean? Back in the day, hey, I was a stepper. Now, nope. I dated this 45-year-old a couple of years ago. She was into me. And we're at that point. She's like, I want to make love to you all night long. I said, all night long? How about 20 minutes and I'll give you the passcode to my Netflix account? She thought about it for a second. She was like, oh, okay, we got this. So, you know, we're going. We're high, we're heavy. I'm sweating, I'm panting, you know what I mean? My heart is jumping out of my chest. And fellas, you know, you get that cramp in the back of your leg at the inappropriate moment that you know, it's right there. Pretty embarrassing, ain't it? Yeah, that was me taking my pants off, people. That was me taking my pants off. But let's see, what do I want to end with? I'm about right where I'm at? Okay. Let's see what's a good one to end with. I'm a giver. You know what I mean? I'm to my heart. I give to every cause there is. I was at. Okay, I give at the sperm bank. Is that? Can I say that? Sperm bank. I wasn't sure. This is TV. You know, but I didn't know I was bringing my own stuff. I had my lotions. I had my magazines. I had my Lionel Richie CD. So I didn't need it, people. Hey guys, thanks. That's my time. I am Keith Irvin.
Thanks so much. Wait, which hand was it? Oh, God. All right, we'll be right back with more Jam Study Tonight.
It wasn't always like this. My friends were slowly going away. They found other people. And their world was slowly revolving around me. With my classes becoming harder and harder, and the constant stress of applying to college, it seemed like suicide was the answer to all of this. It was so easy to do, right there and then. I could have done it, but someone reached out to me. This person actually cared for me, talked to me, and understood me. Suicide is never the answer. Know the signs, find the words, and reach out.
Well, that's our show. I want to thank the Raptor Center, Tim Waggoner, Amelia Robinson, of course, the hysterical Keith. Did you say hi to your mom? Yeah, I know you did. That's fantastic. All right. Catch you next time on Jam Study Tonight. Remember, Dayton, you're not alone.
And you never will be.
Have a good night.